What's up?
What's up?
What's going on?
Are we live?
We're always live. Every
We're
time
live,
you pop
pal.
in, it's live. We're live, pal.
We're live, pal.
Okay, we'll do it live.
What? Jesus. What in the world is happening in the world of the Sport of Kings this weekend?
We got a bunch of whiny bitches is what we got.
Oh, man. I don't know about whiny bitches, but...
Bunch of whiny bitches. Oh, my God. What's up, everybody? It's Quarter to Quarter C2C radio show. I'm Stan Grubb. My tag team partner, Brian Taylor, is here.
What's up?
And Rob
Hey.
Hefner will be in here shortly, I believe.
So before this train leaves the station...
And it's going to get messy, folks. Be ready.
Get
some popcorn.
Get the popcorn, right? This is supposed to be the most interesting night we've ever had, and what I say may be just take people by surprise. Anyway, so let me ask you this, right?
Okay.
Did Kevin Owens main evented a WrestleMania?
Technically, yes.
The Stone Cold match was a main event.
Yep.
Did it go on last?
Yes.
It actually went on last.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
So Kevin Owens main event at WrestleMania before CM Punk.
But that's what Kevin Owens is hanging his hat on?
I don't know if he's hanging his hat on that or not. I honestly hadn't seen it. Bring me up to speed. What is Kevin Owens' part in this? Because I saw on Twitter people were mentioning it, but
yeah. So supposedly, I guess they're watching the media scrum as it happens, right? Who wouldn't, right? And Owens, when Punk makes the comment about, the closest he got was with the Undertaker, and that he had never, I guess never main evented Mania. Kevin Owens was then kind enough to put out a little tweet with him and Austin in the main event at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's what we're doing. Like, I think that's absolutely just dumb. Right? Why would you even get involved? And then you're going to put a match with Austin. That's what you're going to hang your hat on, right? Like, I didn't go for a title. I didn't win a title. I wrestled Steve Austin in a match that I wasn't going to win to begin with. Right? And that's to me, that's not what your whole career in the WWE is about. You losing a main event match in WrestleMania to Austin. I mean, you've done crap for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
Why even get involved? It's not your place to get involved. This is a perfect example of why this is getting out of control and battle lines are being drawn and people want to quit. I say quit. You want to quit, quit. Walk into the office, tell them you quit, walk away. And I'm talking to the Young Bucks and Omega and anybody else. Paige, Colt Cabana, I don't care. Walk away.
Well, you and I are in a lot more agreement than you realize. I watched All Out, and I think All Out speaks for itself. It was a pretty decent show. I don't know if I'd say it was the best pay-per-view they've had, but far from the worst. Some stuff kind of made me confused. Otherwise, whatever.
Well,
but I think the real story came out of what happened after the pay-per-view instead of during.
Well, yeah. So, but let's run through the pay-per-view real quick.
Okay.
And because I'm sure the media scrum is going to take up the majority of the night.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's take a look here. Let me pull up some info.
So, I mean, we can start with 0 Hour.
Yeah. Let's see here. All Out.
But yeah, I'm literally it's a known fact. I'm an Elite fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm now at the point where I'm like, if you want to quit, go. I don't need you no more.
I mean, it is a pretty bitch move to just I'm going to walk away.
Walk away. I don't care any. That's the problem. They have put on AEW's put on some of the best wrestling we've seen in a long
Mm-hmm.
time. The last 6-7 months, no Kenny Omega. Okay, so safe to say he's not pulling in the $1 million gates on the pay per view.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't really seen the Young Bucks. Safe to say they're not pulling in the $1 million gate. Adam Page been kind of gone, right? Haven't really seen much of him. He's not really taking a part in this.
Well,
Maybe people were right from the beginning. Maybe these are the guys who are going to hold you back.
well, I think this is one of the things that Cody was talking about indirectly when he left. I think that what people don't realize is it wasn't that he disliked any of the elite, but he also saw the writing on the wall as to what their professionalism was all about. And I think there's room to question it right now. Does it mean that it's going to be a fact later on? No, but I think there's room to question. Um, Especially after you start hearing now this before we go, but so far we're not condemning or convicting anybody right this moment, but there's a lot to unpack. So we're gonna dive through it. But let's go ahead and go through 0 Hour, Brian, and then we'll
Yeah, we'll
go
just
through the card.
we'll run through
Um,
0 hour and
so what I really liked about 0 Hour was the fast pace it had. That it kept kept the foot on the gas. It didn't stop from the very beginning to the end. Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello versus Ruby Soho and Ortiz for the AAA mixed tag titles. Starts off with Guevara getting slammed with by a go kart or golf cart or whatever the hell it was. Um, Again, the questions I had about this show came with the overbooked pieces. Like Anna Jay runs out, and then we've got 50,000 different possible finishing moves, and I mean, you kind of know that it's a lucha libre style match. You expect the high flying stuff, but
yeah,
the
but
things that concerned me was how Ruby Soho was just beaten the Jesus. She got the shit kicked out of her.
well, yeah, I'd love to know if her nose is broke.
Not many reports on it. Fightful said they got a report that it was broken. I'd be more concerned about her neck, the way she took that shot from Ty Mello.
Mm, I don't know. I don't know. To me, the nose is probably more dangerous because if you really screw that nose up,
Oh yeah, I mean it messes everything up. You can't
yeah,
see properly, you can't breathe properly.
yeah.
Obviously, your
No,
smell is jacked up.
yeah. I mean, I don't recall seeing any blood, but I mean, she didn't let up off that nose
No, as soon as she hit the
after the
ground,
hit.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was the concerning thing to me is this, and we've talked about this many times. You're going so fast, so hard that you just forget to okay, let's be careful as much as you can. Obviously, it ain't ballet, right? But somewhere somebody's gonna go, okay, let's take a half step and slow down just a minute. It doesn't have to be that ridiculous, but it didn't
but
necessarily hurt the match per se, and it was quick enough to where it really wasn't
but
too
in the
bad.
same vein, though, if they do slow down,
Hmm.
right? It's that's what the WWE does. The
Yeah.
WWE is more slow and methodical,
Hmm.
right? But that doesn't prevent people from getting injured there also.
No, and unfortunately, what happens is when you start thinking about be careful for this injury or that injury, that's when people usually get hurt.
Mm.
Because it's in your head, you're being too careful, and then somebody screws up. And I think this is just bad luck for Ruby. She took some shots that she probably didn't have to take. She probably took that what's it called, the Thai KO. She probably took that a little off kilter just because she was trying to move and sell it. Um, but when she landed all funky on her head, I thought for sure her neck was broken. Of course, she gets up, she's okay, but it's the smash to the face that just splattered her nose. I can only
Hmm.
assume splattered because we never, like Brian said, we didn't see any blood or anything like that.
Yeah, so I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it was like the John Cena type
Oh
or the
God.
Becky Lynch, but
Oh, those were nasty. Cena's, I think, was the nastiest. I mean,
yeah,
when
yeah.
when Seth hit that knee and it just smashed him in the nose, it was with
And then he
blood
came
and
back like
throat.
next week, no black
Yep,
eyes,
yep.
no nothing.
Hi
Like,
everybody, I'm John Cena.
hi, yeah, great, good job, John. I don't know what you took, but man. All right,
Freaking
so
miracle
what
surgery.
was?
So then we get Hook defending the FTW title against Cool Hand Ange, and with Matt Menard, Daddy Magic in his corner. This was a good test for Hook. This was exactly what we need to see every now and again for Hook to help. Oh, Braun Strowman's back on Raw. Wow, that didn't take long. Welcome back, Braun. Um, anyway, this was a good test for Hook. We needed to see this. We need to see that Hook can take a beating and keep going, because it's getting to that point now where pre-shows and dark matches and Rampage, he's going to have to move up to Dynamite soon, and so we need to know that he can continue to hang.
Hmm, I agree.
Um,
And then we were joined by what was his name? After Hook won.
Action Bronson, the guy that performs Hook's theme song, which by the way is an awesome song, came in and cleared the ring from Menard and Parker attacking um, Hook after the fact. Good for excuse me, good for Action Bronson getting in on it. There's a rumor, and it's a light one, but there's a rumor Action Bronson is getting a possible tag match with Hook against 2.0 at Grand Slam.
Oh, that wouldn't shock me because, I mean, although I'm not, I wasn't familiar with him, it just has that look like he's been doing something.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're setting something up with this. So I wouldn't be shocked if that doesn't happen. Like you may get a tag match or two during the lead
Yeah,
up to it, but
I mean, I just feel
he
like sooner or later we're going to see Hook tangle with Jericho is probably the next destination.
I think it's still too early for that one.
Oh, I'm not saying it's going to happen within the next 6 months. It won't even happen in Full Gear, but maybe Revolution. Oh, that is 6 months, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's what I get for
I think
doing math.
anything less than a year or so is probably pushing it. I mean, he's Hook's good. Don't get me wrong, but um, I think he should meander in the lower tier guys for a while. Because
Well, I
once you
think
put him
that
with Jericho, then it's all
yeah,
she
he's
wrote.
up.
He can go with anybody.
Exactly, and that's why I say that I feel like they're going to, he's probably got Matt Menard. He's probably got maybe Jake Hager in a. I'm guessing if he goes against Hager, it's going to be a fluke choke out kind of thing, where he just gets behind Hager, chokes him out. It's like one of those, oh my god, he beat a legit MMA guy kind of moments. But I can already see the build. It's coming. Um, when it rolls out, who knows? Gosh, folks, I'll apologize right away. Between all the three of us, two out of the three of us have had COVID. So if we're coughing and snotting all over the place, that's why.
And bronchitis.
And bronchitis, that's right. You had a double dose. That absolutely
Hmm.
sucks.
Hmm. So, but
My
we're good.
yeah, my body absolutely hurts still, by the way. All right. So Hook beat Angelo Parker, 3 minutes 55 seconds. Not a bad deal. As a matter of fact, it set a pace for what I think was kind of a sleeper match of the night candidate, and that's Kip Sabian against Pac.
Mm.
These guys, dude, Kip Sabian was not utilized at all for like more than a year. Did the cardboard box gimmick, and we're all figuring out. Well, I guess he's just waiting for something. And we fantasy booked multiple different solutions for it. Comes out and turns out that he has a 12-minute banger of a match with Pac. I was really really happy with this match. This was really good.
Yeah, and I mean, Kip looks like he's put on weight.
Put on muscle,
Yeah,
not just
muscle.
weight, but muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's definitely not, I wouldn't call him like a featherweight or lightweight no more.
No.
Um,
Junior heavy maybe.
yeah, maybe a little bit higher, but so I was kind of looking forward to this just because you haven't seen Kip in a long time. Um, I don't think it disappointed. I think it shouldn't have been on 0 hour.
No, this should have been on pay-per-view.
Yeah, even to start the show.
I would have had this replace the House of Black versus Sting, Miro, and Darby on the
No.
pay-per-view. Yeah.
Mm.
After the matchup, Pac kind of celebrating, and then Orange Cassidy comes out. The reaction from the kids was great, where they hear Orange Cassidy's music. If you're curious if Orange Cassidy moves the needle and resonates with fans, the facial expressions of fans shown on camera tells the story. That was impressive. I was happy to see it, and I can't wait to see what they do next with him. Because if him and Pac are going one on one again, maybe it's finally time Orange Cassidy gets a title.
No, he shouldn't. No, I agree with Pac. Like, no, he shouldn't even. He shouldn't even be able to sniff that title.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. I mean, I don't even know if he's born on the East Coast anywhere. I think he's more of a West Coast guy. So until you get a Pacific title, you know what I'm saying?
hmm This is buy PWG and have him be the PWG champ. I mean, you're buying everything else, Tony. Jesus.
Nah.
Uh,
I mean, it'll be a good match when it happens.
the main event of 0 Hour was another
Ishii.
match that could have easily been on the pay-per-view card itself. Ishii against Eddie Kingston, 13 minutes long this match was. It seemed like it was longer. I just looked up the time just to see kind of what it was, but damn, 13 minutes, and these guys chapped the ever living shit out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Tomohiro Ishii, his chest looked like ground beef 2 minutes into this matchup. The welts that were forming up, and then I don't know if you noticed, Brian, but like at the end of the match when he stood up, it was like seeping plasma. Well, I don't want to say blood because it wasn't bleeding, but it was like
So
pus and whatever else. It was
yeah, you
gross.
talking about on his right
Yeah, yeah,
armpit?
where he was taking
Yeah,
the chops. Yeah.
yeah. It almost looks like it was. It's like you get a burn,
Yes,
and then
yes,
you bust,
exactly.
and the blister gets busted.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
water and pus and ugh.
yeah.
I was like, Jesus, and they just kept going. And the coolest part of it was, the fact that the fans, because this wasn't Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson and Jericho, you know what I mean? This was a fight, and damn, I mean, it had that feel. Everybody was in it, but I mean, this is ECE. How do you not get behind ECE
Mm.
and Eddie Kingston? Not to put him down.
Yeah, and I guess this was what their second match.
Yeah, so they're apparently tied one apiece.
Yeah,
Let's
so
do the third one
it's
at Full Gear. Let's do it one more time.
no. Let's save that for Wrestle Kingdom. This is I
Ooh.
think this is what we're building to, right? I said it when they announced Forbidden Door. I think
hmm
they're booking shows. Forbidden Doors AEW's. Wrestle Kingdom will be New Japan's.
I mean, it's one of those things where this is something this is a kind of match you can see whenever you want. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Making sure Rob's on his way here. But this is one of those things that you could do it every week if you wanted. I'd be okay with that. I
Oh
don't know
no.
I don't know about the chops every single week.
Yeah.
um, I was glad to see Eddie Kingston get the victory. Technically, it's on the pay per view, even though it really wasn't. I mean, I am in favor of this because I personally want to see, before we get to how everything fleshes out with the Joker, because we're going to get to that. I want to see Eddie Kingston get a title shot and maybe kind of surprise us all and win the belt
Which title though?
from Punk.
No,
Yeah.
really?
So we've gone through 0 Hour. We're going to talk about the card and just kind of run through it. But after everything that has happened, let's welcome on Rob Hefner. He's here with us now. What's up, Rob?
What's up? What's up?
What's up? We're just talking about All Out, and we're going to talk about the media scrum here in just a moment. But we were talking about 0 Hour and the main event of it, which was Eddie Kingston and Tomohiro Ishii. Ishii and him had just a banger of a match. Eddie Kingston gets a much needed victory. And my thought process here is that after this media scrum that we're going to go through, I feel like Punk is, and I'm a big Punk fan, but I feel Punk's on borrowed time. I think he's about to pay an ultimate price for what he did.
Well, I mean, I think you got a lot of Chiefs and not enough Indians.
Yes, very much a case of too many chefs
You know.
or cooks in the kitchen, whatever the other cliche is.
Well, I mean, you got the cliches for everything, but
Yeah.
and we'll talk about the media scrum in a minute. But I watched just bits and pieces of it. But I mean, I thought the Kingston match was awesome. It was hard hitting. Was a great way to end 0 Hour. I kept watching 0 Hour. Like, I can't believe this is like, not the main show.
Yeah.
You
We were
know,
just saying that. Yeah, how some of these matches could have easily been on the card.
Yeah, but I mean, they've never treated
Excuse me.
that first hour like anything less than the pay-per-view.
That's true. They don't treat it like an actual pre-show. They treat it like it's, hey, this is the card. It's starting now. You get the first hour for free kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh boy, oh boy. So let's kind of go through some results here of the main show because this is where it sets the stage for the media scrum. First off, AEW's video packages for each match. They're taking a page out of WWE's book in that regard, putting it together to make sure everybody's up to speed. The difference is they're not making them 15 minutes; they're making them 2, and it still tells the same story. Still puts us all up 100% on where we are right now, and I really appreciate that. Um, Casino ladder match. Some people were saying on Twitter that it was confusing because of the casino battle royale. The way it usually comes is with the different suits, but I like the fact that they have a different type of ladder match and a different type of battle royal. I don't want it to be the same as everybody else, so I'm glad that it's different.
So, like, what? God, how do I put this? How would you think they were going to be the same? You don't even have the same amount of people.
Right.
So, what were you going to do? Bring them out 2 at a time in a suit?
Some people were saying they wanted to have everybody out there at once and just go, but then that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the Joker.
Yes.
I mean, I will say that my only issue with it was
Excuse me.
there were several people in it that I didn't think should have been. Like, I didn't think rated a chance at the title. You know what I mean? But
that's like that in every type of match like that. There's always
Oh, yeah.
2 or 3 that you'd never like. Why are these people in there? And then sometimes they actually win. Didn't Liv Morgan win one of these things?
Carmella.
Carmella, yeah. And no offense to them, but like they were the last one you would have picked.
Yeah, they
Right.
were dark horses. Yeah, they were set up that way.
Yeah, and sometimes it happens that way. But in AEW, when you have a Joker, that's the only way you can set it up. Though is to have him come in last.
It would make no sense for him to come in. I mean, the way that the broadcasters were talking, like, heck, for a minute there, I thought with Ash, whoever came in before, like, Andrade, I was like, well, is that the Joker? Because they were like, oh my God, it's him. I'm like, but he was there last week. Like,
Yeah, they treat the entrants as big names no matter what. I like that about their commentary team. I like that they I don't want to say mark out, but they definitely put them over in what they're doing. When Roosh comes out there and he gets involved, I think that's still a big surprise for them. And I think it's honestly, I think that's genuine. I think they're just surprised to see Roosh in AEW. So they're just like, oh wow, it's Roosh. Like I think that's really where they're at. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm changing tabs. Here we go. So there's a couple spots
sorry.
in this one where Yuta goes through the ladders. My wife is like, "You gotta get him to a hospital. He's obviously hurt. I mean, he just got the shit knocked out of him almost the entire time." And this is what started the petition. I am starting a petition to officially eliminate the sling blade from wrestling repertoire. It looks awful every single time people do it. Penta hit it twice. It looked like shit. There's people hitting it on the outside where they're literally just getting their hand just above the other person's head, so it doesn't even look like it connects. It's just the shittiest looking move. Just stop doing it. No more
I
sling
think
blade.
I think that just goes back to a lot of just the regular, we've had that discussion several times over the years, that, yes, All Out is a big time, but, everybody doesn't have to hit every move, like
Yeah.
just tell a story, but that's everywhere. That's just not, and that's not an All Out. It's not an AEW thing. It's everywhere for years.
Yeah, I mean, there's this need to get every bit of the shit in you can. You know what I mean? There's like this desire. I want to do my high spot. No, I want to do my spot. All right, cool. Let's do this, and then we'll do this. Like the thing that Claudio did with the ladders. Um, honestly, I thought Andrade was going to die there because he couldn't decide where he was going to go. He has the X set up. He's got the ladder in the middle, and he's like, "All right, we're going up. Nope. Let's go to the side. Nope." I mean, like he just keeps moving it, and I'm like, somebody just tell him to stop. Just get rid of the ladder.
Yeah,
And
but
I think that's a lot of times in those movies, in those ladder matches. I think we see it in all of them. It gets to a point where they're like, all right, this is not what we planned, but we got to go with it.
well, I just don't think that they put the ladders the way they were supposed to be. And Claudio realized it was like, well, let's just see if we can do this anyway.
I mean, he pulled it off. It wasn't like it was a fail, but it's just like they're all kind of laying there looking at him like, what you doing?
Yeah, I would almost give it a fail though because I don't think it worked out the way they wanted it. Because something tells me he was supposed to be like on an X. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I mean, you could see a lot of that was like, and I did see more of. I will say, saw a little bit more of the Hefner rule than normal.
Yeah, a little bit, but some of that's because they don't have a choice. Like the high spots that they were hitting in this were kind of ridiculous. I mean, especially the spots on the ladder. Dante Martin is a freak of nature.
Yeah, there was that one move he hit. I'm like, why is he not dead?
How the hell does he do the stuff he does? He goes from balancing on the top rope, which is insane to me as it is, but diving to the ladder, landing on his feet, landing on Claudio's back later on, and still just, I'm good. We're going up the ladder.
We need like an X division or light heavyweight title for that
Yes,
kid.
yes. And just have him just fly everywhere. It's cool.
Yeah.
We'll just call it the Dante title. We're good.
Pure adrenaline title or something like
Top Flight Championship right here for you, buddy.
Because I mean, to me, I like the kid, right? But it does kind of stink that he's like really painted into a corner, right? Because you'll never see him, although he might be able to, but you're not going to expect a straight technical match out of him. You know what I'm saying? And like as he gets older, if he starts to put on muscle and all that stuff, he may not be able to take such risk. You know what I'm saying?
He's going to have the Marty Jannetty ankles if he's not careful.
Yeah. So
he's going to have that, I feel like Ricochet and Ospreay, like they're just going to get out of bed one morning and fall flat on their face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one day their just ankles are going to go, nah, bitch, I'm done.
You'll get up out of bed and just fall. And we're done here.
Yeah. Insane.
So this matchup. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, but that does lead us to perhaps the coolest, like, screw job of all screw jobs.
I really did like the ending. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of bewildered at first when the men in black came running down. And then the short guy who you could tell was going for the ladder, I thought it was Gresham at first.
So I saw you put that in the chat. I thought it was Scorpio Sky.
Oh, I didn't even think about Scorpio. To me, he looked short like Gresham. Like that's where my mind immediately went to Gresham.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we find out that the guy who pulls down the chip is Stokely.
Big Stoke. That was, I mean, it's so well played out. I liked they run down, they clear the ring, And then they're taking their masks off, which was awesome. First off, glad to see Ethan Page get a big moment. I'm happy to see the Gun Club kind of move away from their feud with the Acclaimed. Let's see what they do next. Maybe get a little bit more serious. Morrissey, to be honest, like last week, I was really confused. Like, why did they bring him back for like nothing? Well, now we know.
Yeah, no, you know.
So I mean, this set the scene for what I think more people should be using this song for a wrestling theme if they could afford it, because apparently licensing for it is expensive. But cue "Sympathy for the Devil," which was just, it was so cool, so perfect. But the guy that comes out as the Joker is wearing a mask, complete black garb, and it could have been literally anybody. That's the coolest part of it. Rob and I were like trying to figure out who it was, and obviously this was before they unmasked him, but it could have been literally anyone you wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm. And
That
it
was
didn't even
the
have to
coolest
be
part.
who was going to be unmasked.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You could have had somebody unmask him, they'd be like, "Nah, that's not him." Like, wait, what? It could be like a whole Black Scorpion thing. It could still be that. Who knows?
Well, I don't think it can be now because later in the night we find out.
Yeah, it was the devil himself.
And shall we go back to the chat and who called it?
Rob called it. Rob officially called it before we did. Although, like,
I think everybody called it though.
Oh no, I get the win because I don't get the win very often.
I thought it was Mr. Anderson. So
yeah.
But he moved like him.
Yeah, no.
The whole arm thing and the wiping his feet on or boots on the apron and.
Yeah, you saw what I said, right? Get out of here with that stupidness.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, come on, man. So the Joker ends up winning, goes to unmask, does the whole like, nah, not right yet. Then we get to the trios title. Man, this whole bracket was booked so backwards. We could have had Aussie Open or United Empire versus the Elite in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about that, my head just goes, no. But maybe that's where some of this stuff that happened in the media scrum becomes a question of, is it true?
I listen. So that match was like the one they had was bigger than what most of us realize, right? Because you've had this thing with Osprey and Omega,
Yeah,
that should have been taken care of at
Forbidden Door,
right? I mean, they've been going at it for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, literally, that should have been your pay-per-view match. It had nothing to do with, well, I would hope it had nothing to do with backstage politics, but I don't think it did. I just think the whole, like you said, the whole brackets were screwed up, and they didn't think that one through.
I mean, not that I don't like to see the Dark Order, and I was happy that they were on pay-per-view because I feel like they deserve a shot. I don't know what's going to actually come of this, except I have a feeling we're going to see them turn heel on Adam Page. But this match itself was good. I did like the fast pace. What I really dug right at the beginning was Kenny Omega coming out like no tape, no braces, nothing. Like this whole thing has been an evolution of, all right, got a lot of bandages on, a couple bandages and a little tape on. Now no tape at all. It was like, okay, so we've seen the complete recovery of Kenny Omega. I liked that it was very subtly done because they talked about it, but I liked that it gave us kind of that reward at the end, like, aha, he's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I know y'all are going to hate me, but I mean, I was really glad to see Kenny Omega, and I know this is a way that they could bring him in like a soft opening, bring him in, get him before they put him in singles competition since his injuries, I didn't want to see the Young Bucks in that position. I mean, I kind of felt like there were some other teams that could have gone with it more, dealt with it more, like got more out of it. Let me say, like you said, United Empire, like you spent all that money to bring them all in here, but like you said, it was good to see Kenny Omega back, and I felt that was what it was mainly about.
We know that
I
when the
felt
trios,
speechless.
I was trying to figure out what I was going to say first. We know that when Tony Khan
How do I not
confirmed
call him an idiot?
when Khan confirmed that the trios titles were a thing, and that he was simply waiting on Kenny Omega to come back. You kind of knew that was going to most likely be your first set of champs was the Elite. But damn, if I didn't want to see the Dark Order and Page win it. I mean, it's just I like matches that get you into. Man, I really don't know. I don't know who could win this one. I don't know which direction it's going to go. Um, Even though there was the obvious, I think we all kind of know the Elite have that pigeonholed at least for the moment. But it makes whoever beats them even bigger. Whoever that is.
Well, yeah, but the problem is the one team that probably could have done it, one of them is gone now.
Yep. And then one of them's hurt. He
Yeah,
just had neck fusion surgery, and yeah. So the
yeah,
undisputed era versus the Elite is not going to happen. At least
right,
not in its previous incarnation.
right.
And probably isn't going to happen until Kyle O'Reilly is healed up.
Yeah, and see, I would immediately, almost immediately move away from the Elite. If it was me, I would put them in a match with House of Black, and they
Hmm.
would lose so fast it wouldn't be funny.
I think that would make sense, especially if you could, kind of to Rob's point, still protect Kenny. Have him get have him play the hits, so to speak, and then one of the Bucks gets the mist in the face, they get covered, and it's over, or whatever the case may be. It makes sense because now you've got they were the first ones, they lose the titles, and now you've got a trios title that everybody can kind of grind for.
Well, I mean, not only that, I understand that the Elite have been together since the beginning,
Hmm.
but the House of Black just feels more like a trio than the Elite to me.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what I was going with. Like you built trios from the beginning. You've had the Death Triangle, the Dark
Mm-hmm.
Order, all these people. The whole time you've had AEW, and we've said since the beginning they got that from the beginning we're like, oh, they should have a triple a 6-man title, and then
Hmm.
they do it and they put it on. It's like that's where I was coming from. Like, come on.
Well, and this sets the table for as they continue to focus on their gang warfare that they do so often. It'll open the doors up, and eventually, I think like the Dark Order will hold it. House of Black, to Brian's point, maybe even hell, maybe even the Nightmare Factory. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of different, or the Factory, whatever it's called now. There's a lot of different combinations that could do it. I mean, the Motor City Machine Guns and Jay Lethal could do it. That could be kind of cool.
Well, I mean, it would depend on if the guns are like AEW or if they're alone for Impact.
Right.
Now, I do think it's time that somebody from Impact picked up an AEW title and defended it over there. I think it's time that Tony started reciprocating the favor that
Yeah.
the other companies have done for them.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see that working partnership get expanded a little bit, because they've done it so well. I mean, why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to me, it just seems like AEW is the one that benefits out of this thing. Well, let's slide a little bit over to Impact, or that's why I was okay with the United Kingdom or United Empire one,
Hmm.
because you could take it back to New Japan and you could just say go to town with it, just defend it,
Yeah.
just let me know and I'll make the decision when it comes off. But just go over there and do it. And
Well, I mean,
I go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's a lot of time. They just came out with it, so we might still see that. Um, I usually like to give Tony Khan credit for being so self-aware when fans are commenting like we are, and it's not an uncommon belief. But there's also the same comments of, does he understand, for example, like the women's division? We got Jade Cargill and Athena after this trios title match, and I mean, I don't know what they were going for with this matchup. Just a crap ton of reversals and counters and all this stuff that just doesn't need to happen. Not to mention the fact that I feel like this would have been the time to take the title off of Jade. And personally, I'm just tired of seeing her. She bores me, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but just because she bores you doesn't mean that
Right.
she's not. Yeah, because I actually enjoy watching her, and the reason why is because you're watching her develop,
Mm-hmm.
right? Literally develop, because again, she'd been asked for the WWE, turned them down, came to AEW. She just started AEW and she's at 37-0, right?
Yeah.
So she's only really had 37 matches, because I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, there might be one in there that I'm not aware of. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
like, you're literally watching this career like start from the bottom and go all the way up. And she, like I said last night, she's only going to get better by having these opportunities. Now, do I think she probably should have lost last night? Yes, but I'm okay that she didn't,
Mm-hmm.
because sooner or later somebody, and it's going to be one of these underdog stories that everybody loves, and that's where it'll come from.
It's going to be difficult to put somebody in the position where they can finally, finally get the title off of her and keep her in a position where she can rebound. I had to think of the right word there. It's one of those things where I think for her, the longer it goes for her holding that title, the harder it's going to be to finally find that person to go, okay, it's time to take the title off of you. And some people have even said they want to see her unify the hose title, the TBS title, and the women's world championship, which, I feel like 2 women's titles is too much. So I wouldn't be opposed to that if there's an actual end game in sight. But
Well, yeah, but I think there is the end game, because there's talk that AEW wants a women's show,
mm-hmm.
and there's talk that they're getting a third show, but they haven't really said what it is, right? I think Tony come out just a couple weeks ago and said that he would really like to have a women's show, which I'm okay with, if to do, if they want to do that, and then they could all be showcased over there, and um, unifying it on that for that is okay, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I see to me though, the thing about Jade is she always looks like she's going to lose, and she's only one roll up away, the most devastating move.
Yeah, the finisher to beat all finishers.
Yeah, so she's only like one of those away, and one of these times Hogan or whatever the other one's name is going to hit her by accident.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
We go from the TBS title to the next trios match between FTR and Wardlow against the Machine Guns and Jay Lethal. Dax cut an especially good promo this past Wednesday talking about how each match is important to him and how it belongs on the pay-per-view, kind of silencing some of the critics of the booking for this. The matchup itself came off well. I felt like this really opens that door and tells us, yeah, we really do need to see the Machine Guns and FTR in a straight-up tag match. That's got to happen. Where, I don't know. Maybe the Machine Guns can win the Impact titles, and then FTR can beat them for those. I mean, they got all the others. Why not? Wardlow hits 50,000 power bombs on somebody on Lethal. I don't know how I feel about that. I guess I mean the right team won, maybe, possibly. Samoa Joe is back though. He comes back to break up the attack attempt by Lethal and his group. Samoa Joe destroys Satnam Singh, hits him with the belt, and then Dax's daughter, Finley, comes to the ring, snaps Sanjay Dutt's pencil, and then Dax drops him with Finley pinning him for the 3 count. That was pretty cool. I liked that.
Sanjay plays a good bad guy.
fight like a something brat. I can't remember what the T-shirt said.
6-year-old brat.
Yeah, it doesn't say 8-year-old Brad or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one was a bit of a shock. Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs was fast, really fast. Powerhouse Hobbs just drops him with the spine buster, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. We're all going home. Starks got in a little bit of offense, but I don't know that I'd really say much else about it. This was all Powerhouse Hobbs.
Well, yeah, but I think this is the match that he needs, right? Because we talked about it in the chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are stars. Hobbs needs that. He needs that rub a little bit more than Ricky does for a match like this.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no question Ricky is Ricky Starks. You know, he needs to be moved up the card, but he doesn't need this. He can work through a loss like this.
Yeah.
But to me, what it does is it shows Hobbs can hit that spine buster. Like when you don't expect it. Who in the world thought he was going to hit it then and get the straight pin?
Oh, nobody. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Yeah,
I think everybody literally was like, "Yeah, Ricky Starks is beating Hobbs."
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's how we all started out too. And then it was just like it's almost like the RKO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the Superman punch, or some of these other ones, you just don't see it coming. And a match you think could be, he should lose in 25 minutes. He hits the spine buster in 10 out of nowhere, and you're like, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
And it didn't look like a normal one. It almost looks like they both kind of fly a little in there. Whereas Arn is almost straight up and down. Yeah, it's almost like he carries them a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, like you said, statement matchup for Powerhouse Hobbs. This is the match that helps him to move forward. From here, we go to the AEW Tag Team Championship, and this is where.
Can you imagine being the booker on that? Hey, that's what we're going to do. Ricky Starks, you're going to go out there, you're going to hit him, and then he's going to whoop your ass.
Y'all just figure it out there.
But that's the crazy thing about the AEW booking. Like, some of this stuff you just literally do not see coming.
Yeah.
Not in a million years. CM Punk and Moxley in Cleveland. Nobody saw that coming. Hobbs and Starks. Nobody saw that coming. Yeah, the next match, the tag team match that we're about to talk about, nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd took a hold of this matchup and really they changed this. They changed the narrative. They controlled the narrative. There you go, Braun. Welcome back. I even threw your stuff in there. Fans got involved. The Acclaim hits the ring, and it was all the Acclaimed. I don't mean all Acclaimed on the offense because it wasn't, but the fans were not behind Swerve and Our Glory. This was, we want the Acclaimed, and we don't care who we have to kill to get to them because we want the Acclaimed. There was chants for "Scissor Me, Daddy." There were chants for, there were chants for "You Can't Scissor." I mean, like, what the hell? Who'd ever thought that two guys that were just randomly paired during a dark taping would be this over?
Yeah, and they're the winningest tag team in AEW history.
Mm-hmm.
And again, two guys just randomly thrown together, and one of them giving a mic. Yeah, go out there. Yeah, I don't care if you rap on the way.
Yeah. Have some fun, kid.
You're not going to amount to much. You just go do your thing, right? And here we are 3 years later, 4 years later. and they're the biggest tag team in the joint right now. But it was, I, I did like the fact that Keith Lee was smart enough to realize what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you caught it, but I don't know, several minutes into the match, it's almost like he figures out, wait, they're not chanting for me and Swerve.
Yeah.
And you can see it on his face. Like he changes. He goes from nice Keith Lee to more like, oh, I'm going to kick your ass now because
Mm-hmm.
you've turned this crowd against us.
Yeah, this was good storytelling.
Yes.
They went with the crowd. They said, "All right, cool, let's do this." They being Swerve in Our Glory. I felt like maybe we didn't get the winner we should have gotten, and that's actually a good thing to have that question, because now when the Acclaim does win the titles, it's going to be even bigger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, you can tell that's like you saw where I put that in the chat. It was like that's where the arena was like, oh nope, we're against you all for the rest of the night.
Yeah, the crowd was kind of. I mean, they were a Chicago crowd, but they were kind of deflated after that. It was a little tough.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think they weren't deflated, but
No, they were just pissed that they.
Yeah, they didn't stick with the stories after that.
They were chanting, "This is bullshit." They were. I mean, they booed Keith Lee and Swerve at the end of the match, as you would expect. But there were even fans on Twitter going, "Hey, if you didn't like the finish, fine. I know you want the Acclaim to win, but don't boo Keith Lee. Like, it's hurting his feelings." Like, I'm sure Keith Lee is fine.
Well, because we can touch on the media scrum with them too later, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think Swerve and Keith, right, are probably smarter than those people in Stanford realized.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Because not only did they go out there with the Acclaimed and put on the match of the night, they put on a match of the year contender.
Mm-hmm.
They were smart enough to realize, oh, this crowd is hostile now. So let me turn. And I'm talking about Keith, because to me, Swerve is always kind of like the bad guy.
Yeah. He likes playing that middle of the road heelish
Right.
persona.
Right. And I'm fine with that because I love Swerve. I think he's great. But I mean, for Keith Lee to really pick up on it to the point that there's a beautiful camera angle when he's like, wait a second, you're booing me? No, you're not going to boo me. Oh, you are booing me? Well, let me just go take care of this. And he turns.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm sure it's only for the one match because Keith Lee is kind of the good guy. But, it was a brilliant, well-constructed, story-driven match.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if they booked it to be that story-driven or if they were just all four smart enough to say, let's go with it.
Well, I feel like they saw what the story was, and then they made the decision. All right, where are we going to go with this? What's the direction we're taking? And they just said, "The hell with it. We'll do it on the fly," and that's what they did.
Yeah, and it was all based off of the crowd. And I know there have been people that are up in arms. Oh, they should have changed the match on the fly and had the Acclaimed win and all this stuff. No, you don't want to go down that path. Because just because it was good for Chicago, that doesn't mean it's going to be good everywhere else.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say let's not let the crowd start dictating finishes. So you call them on the fly. Stick to your guns. It was a beautiful, well executed story that we're going to get a part 2 of, and we'll touch on that later. And we'll go. We'll wait and see what happens next time.
Yeah, we got a lot of ground to cover. I mean, we've got Grand Slam coming up. We got Full Gear coming up. There's opportunities here to see a rematch. The tag title situation in AEW is, to me, one of those things that can change on a dime just because you have so many good tag teams. So we're certainly not losing anything by going further. AEW Interim Women's Championship match was next. Fatal 4-way. Toni Storm, Sheeta, Jamie Hayter, and Britt Baker went woman to woman, not man to man. And this was
Hey now.
uh, hmm. So I kind of liked what they did with Sheeta at first to try to get her out of the equation right away. I thought that was, I mean, you don't see that very often. Usually you just see it all kind of unfold in the ring. But I liked that they took it outside of that. But I also liked that when Sheeta came back, it was, a real good fire comeback, and we were waiting for, it was either her or Tony Storm.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I told y'all last night, Tony come out with the look.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see the look. I must have completely missed that.
Like, she had the look like, oh, I can't believe this is happening type look.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew it was her night, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell sometimes that, based off the look. And I mean, I thought it was good though, because it was there's a lot of hard hits in this thing.
Well, and they're setting the stage here for Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter now. We've got so many different things that's going to happen that's going to lead us down this path. I don't know who's going to come out on top in this one, but if you really think about it, we've got Rebel, who could be in the middle, siding with Britt, siding with Jamie. I mean, you got Hayter, who people are very much into the camp of.
I think Austin just killed Kevin Owens.
Yeah, that was nasty. I'm not sure, but I think he gigged his back of his head. No, he didn't. Never mind. No.
Well, it looks like, I mean, that back of the head cracked that corner.
Yeah.
Well, here's the replay. Bam. Yeah,
he might have. Kudos to WWE, by the way, for focusing more on the wrestling. It's getting there. Back to Hayter. I mean, I'm not exactly sold on her. I think there's much like Jade, a lot of room for improvement. But the fans are definitely attached to her, and she has a relationship with them that could very well put her into that role, kind of like Thunder Rosa was. Thunder Rosa, although, was considerably more polished at her when she finally got in there. I think Hayter at this point has an opportunity with this feud with Britt Baker.
Yeah, but I mean, Hayter was like, she had a career before AEW, right? I mean, didn't she wrestle overseas?
I mean, she's
before AEW. I'm just kidding.
That's right. No, there was no wrestling before AEW. No, she was in the UK somewhere.
Yeah, I didn't
know she was British till last night. So.
Wait, what?
I never heard her speak.
That's a hard pause. Rob didn't know she was British. Bro, she's been on TV multiple times. You didn't hear her once with the accent?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay, well.
Yeah, I mean, is she a little sloppy at times? Sure, but I mean, I can still see why the crowd's behind her.
Yeah, they like looking at her butt.
No, I mean, she's like got the British style of wrestling going on. She's a little bit more hard hitting than the rest of them.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe her butt does come into play for some people. I don't know. But,
well, I mean, I'm just saying it's not an ignored part of the delivery. I mean, I'm sure some fans do.
but like, she's been picking up momentum.
Yeah.
For the last few weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, even before she was announced in this match, she was starting to pick up heat with the crowd.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens, because if she's able to keep this momentum, she might end up being the face in the feud with her and Britt.
Oh, yeah.
With how popular she is.
Yeah, she'll be the face. I mean, everybody hates Britt.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, Britt, say what you want about her supposed story with Thunder Rosa. Apparently, they legitimately don't like each other. Britt did, for the better part of the pandemic, carry the women's division, her and Sheeta. Yeah. So you can't disrespect that, and you can't take anything away from her. You have to recognize that she knows what she's doing, which is already kind of crazy to think about because of how short her career has been. Mm-hmm. Much like Jade.
Oh, well, just again, go back and look at Britt's first AEW match back in what, 18, 19, whatever it was,
Oh,
19.
at All In, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was abysmal. But damn if she ain't turned it around.
You saw a little something in there.
I mean, like, she is one of the best they have. If not the best. She may actually be the best, pound for pound that they have on the
I
roster.
I think Sheeta's the best one they got.
You think Sheeta is?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sheeta's only thing is that she doesn't speak English real well, and I think that's why they don't focus on her.
That's a little harsh to say.
It's not very polite of you.
Yeah.
I think that's what holds her back. I think that's where they don't do anything because that's
But she was the
unfortunately it's
longest
what they all
reigning,
do.
wasn't she?
Yeah, she was.
She's always in the mix.
Yep, she's always in the mix.
So I think you're just being a poopy head right now.
I think there's some other underlying issues there that you need to deal with, sir.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of harsh. Jungle Jack.
She doesn't speak well, so
Jungle Jack Perry against Christian Cage. This was built up as the grudge match to end all grudge matches. Nope, it wasn't. What we got was Jungle Jack Perry comes out to the ring. His mom slaps Christian in the face. Jungle Boy comes out and he's like looking around. He's like, "Oh, where's Luchasaurus?" And we're all thinking, "Cool, we're gonna get Luchasaurus. He's gonna ride on his shoulders." Yeah, no, he went for a ride after the Black Dinosaur choke slammed him. Hits a dinosaur's edge. Is that what they call it? I can't believe I'm reading that. Hits a powerbomb kind of maneuver on Jungle Boy through a table, and then choke slams him into the pyro grate, which the burn marks were on Jungle Boy's back, which was pretty nasty. Rolls him into the ring. Christian gets a 2 count after a spear, and then the kill switch, and that was it. The match barely started before it ended.
And I'm fine with that. I don't really understand the Luchasaurus switching again, because this is what, about 3 times in a month.
Never trust a dino.
Yeah, apparently never trust a dino. So, but I mean, I'm okay with Christian getting the win. Although I did say last night we should have gotten some made up pictures of Christian and
She was mine before she was yours. Oh my god,
Jack Perry's mom or something, just to really rub it in.
Oh my god, and see her getting all embarrassed, like, what the hell? She would have too, because like they would have photoshopped it, and she'd be like, "Wait a minute, that's not me." Jericho and Danielson was next. I loved everything about this match until the finish.
What, Jericho winning?
Yes, I'm over the Judas effect, and I'm over Jericho winning matches. Just no more, please. I can't do it. He looks like a goat, a drunk goat.
No, that's
drunk Uncle Jericho's back in the ring. Watch how Chris pull his pants up 50,000 times. Poor guy can't get to the top rope, can't stand, can't walk. He's gonna pull his pants up, laying on the mat, pulls his pants up.
I just want to know, like, when he came down to the ring, like he had sculpted abs almost, and then along about the time his belt goes, like, his implants or something blue also or something.
Oh, it's hilarious. I read that. I read that when you said he almost got fatter during the match. I couldn't focus anymore. I just kept looking at the gut. I'm like, he's right. It's just getting bigger.
It's getting bigger. How is this happening?
It's jiggling. I can't look away. It's so hypnotic.
Yeah. So yeah, from now on, he'll always be drunk Uncle Jericho.
I mean, not to put him down. He did have a good match. There's nothing wrong with that. He had a great match with Danielson, but I think that's got to be expected. You've got 2 of the best to ever do it. But Danielson has not been able to win in big match situations in a while, and I can't stand that. look, you can't just because WWE did it back at WrestleMania 30 doesn't mean you could take that same storyline and go, well, let's make the American Dragon lose until we finally say he gets his chance. No, he's a veteran now. He's been through all that. He's in a different era. That's my opinion.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This was like the first time those two have met, right?
This is the first time since NXT in 2010.
NXT in
Yep.
2010.
He wrestled Jericho on NXT one time. He did a dive to the outside, broke a rib, and Jericho beat him.
Wow. Because I thought Jericho said it was their first. Maybe we don't count NXT.
I think he doesn't. I think he ignores it. He's like,
Yeah.
that's not part of my canon. My boss has more money than your boss. Like, what the hell, Chris? Shut up.
that's the legend. booking.
Like, he's like, hey, I listened to that interview and I'm like, bro, what? Why? He's like, well, of course I gotta say that. That's narrative history or whatever. I'm like, dude, shut up. Okay, we get it. You know, you don't like WWE. You don't like Triple H. Aren't you on this interview to talk about something else? Like, come on, buddy. Jesus.
Are you talking about the Scrum interview?
No. Jericho during the scrum was fine.
Yeah.
He was the most positive guy out there.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I'm Chris Jericho. How's it going? Everybody else is like, fuck this place. I hate these guys.
His meds were kicking in.
Right? Tony Khan sitting there half the time looking like he's going to cry. Finally, Jericho comes out and he's like, oh, thank God Chris is here. Like, jeez.
All right, so what's next? Because I mean, I agree. I think Danielson should have won. I think it's time that he starts winning these matches.
Yeah. House of Black against Darby, Sting, and Miro. There's more story about this happening after the fact, so we'll run through it. Really, this was a story of what was supposed to be a comeuppance between Miro and House of Black. What it really was Darby Allin and Sting getting yet another victory over House of Black, and Miro just happened to be at ringside.
Mm-hmm.
Don't understand it.
Saying, like,
go ahead.
I'm not afraid to say it. All right. I saw they introduced the House of Black. I was sitting on my couch, and the next thing I know, they were in the ring. I may have dozed off for a few minutes, and I actually forgot Miro was supposed to be in it until he like popped up at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of fans probably suffered from exhaustion after all of the wrestling that was this weekend. You had Clash at the Castle, Takeover, NXT Takeover, Worlds Collide was actually kind of good. And then the All Out, which was great. But yeah, apparently Sting's got a new superpower. He has the Poison Mist. His time with the Great Muta has finally transcended into his character.
So it has what, a 30-year incubation period?
It must, because when he did it, you could barely see it. I didn't even see it until the replay.
His whole face was black, though.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, damn, what did he just spit spray paint? Good Lord.
Yeah.
But I mean, it came off good.
Oh, but not for me, because normally when one of the rest of them do it, you can actually see it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't see anything, and he just grabbed his face, and I was like, what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the replay, you can actually see it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this makes sense now.
But basically, Miro just stands back and, I didn't get the win. That's exactly how it looked like. Like, he doesn't say anything, he's just standing there. I'm like, okay, Miro got screwed. The Redeemer got screwed. Now he's got to go attack more pagans.
Well, you ought to go beat up Darby Allin.
Yes.
I'm about tired
beat
of
up Darby and Sting. That's what he should do. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So, the end of this whole thing, when they cut to the break before Punk and Mox, is Malachi Black does a pose for the fans, takes a bow, hugs the House of Black, and then walks away. There's conversation going on that, for personal reasons, we don't know anything else but that, and this is courtesy of both Fightful.com and The Insider, that Malachi Black is the person who had requested his release and was actually denied it. So he could just be taking some time off to get some personal stuff straight. Hopefully everything gets worked out for him. He's a hell of a talent, and I think in his case, it's a situation that you got a ton of stars, and it just wasn't his turn yet. And
Well,
I think it will get there, but
but
he's just maybe a little impatient.
didn't he need time off in the WWE for something like that too?
Uh, so yes, and I
Yeah.
like I said, I don't really want to speculate, but apparently it's personal to the point where it could involve more than just him. Best I could
Well, yeah,
describe
yeah,
it.
but what I'm
So
saying is, it's when people need that type of time off, they should be allowed to have that type of time off to take care of their personal issues.
yeah,
And I don't necessarily agree with letting his contract go
uh
because
huh,
that would be foolish. But if he needs a year off, give him a year off. If he whatever to take care of his personal issues.
yeah. Well, and like I said, I mean, it's tough because I want to see him do well. I want to see him move up. I think we all do. I think that he
Mm.
will get there. But I mean, when you're in a company that has not just Kenny Omega and Adam Page, but CM Punk, Adam Cole, John Moxley. I mean, there's Brian. You've said it many times. Only one guy can be the main eventer, can be the world champ, one at a time, and
No.
he'll get there. But it's got to be the right time. And I think between his personal issues and maybe some creative stress, because he's tweeted out a few times that he's got some creative issues going on, that he thought that all this work he had been doing was something, and now he's worried it's for nothing. Then maybe he's just impatient.
Well, yeah,
I don't really know.
I think there's probably a lot of, especially in AEW, people that are impatient
Yeah.
because you go from, most of these people cut their teeth in a time where you didn't have storylines.
Right.
You might would go match to match match, and it would make no sense. But
Yeah.
now you have a company that's willing to take 2 years to tell a story. To look at
Hmm.
Adam Page. I mean
And Kenny Omega. Yeah.
that was a legit 2 year storyline.
Hmm.
And if you have a company that's willing to go 2 years to tell a story, just sit back and enjoy the ride. Because that's what pro wrestling needs right now is story, like good, meaningful storylines. And if
Yeah.
they take a year to develop, it takes a year. If it takes a year and a half, it takes a year and a half. He hasn't lost the fans. And that's what he
No.
needs to realize.
Yeah.
And even though he may not be where he thinks he is creatively, to the fans, he is exactly where we need him to be because he is putting on some magnificent story stuff
Yes.
that nobody else is doing. And again, if he needs time off for personal reasons, take the time off. But
Hmm.
he should never think that just because he doesn't have a world title that anybody thinks anything less of him because he's a bright spot on the show.
Yeah. We get to the main event. It's Punk. It's Mox in the rematch. This match had been built up and built up. People were really. There were a lot of people actually that were unhappy that this match was happening again after what happened in Cleveland. They felt like Mox had squashed him and they should just move on to the next opponent. Others, I don't know where I stand in that because I'm kind of in the middle. So I would say others felt like Punk, his story wasn't done, and if he's truly ready to go, then why not? Um, like I said, I don't really know where I stand in all that. I think part of me was like, this is a good story. I want to see what happens. But I think I was more leaning towards Punk's going to do a heel turn after losing, was my thought process. Um, and with Ace Steel, having him get talked up into taking the match, I was actually expecting him to beat the snot out of Ace Steel at the end because he couldn't get it done. But that's not how it went. We got a pretty solid matchup between Punk and Mox. Mox definitely deserves recognition as the first two-time AEW World Champion. He deserves a lot of recognition for carrying the company on his back during the pandemic, and then some. To be real, um, Punk comes in, wins the matchup after a grueling fight. At one point, he gets busted open, and this was actually kind of gross. Mox gets the blood from Punk on his hand and decides to lick it off. Mox, I'm not sure you're aware, buddy, but that's how diseases get spread. And that's nasty and gross. Don't do that again. That's nasty. Sick bastard. I mean, what's next? You gonna take a cheese grate? Oh wait, you've already done that. I know it's gonna be pizza. Never mind. Damn it. By the way, Mox and Nick Gage are scheduled to go head to head in a career versus title match in GCW here in the next month.
Well, so getting back though to the fans, really thinking he shouldn't have gotten a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, it's the story,
right?
Because what happens in Cleveland to Punk?
He gets punked out.
Yeah, he gets punked out. Like Cleveland.
Rob, you feel good saying that, don't you,
buddy? Cleveland's not his town.
Yeah.
So again, that adds to that story. That gives you the belief that his leg is messed up. He's not ready to come back.
Yeah.
Right? Now, do I think they could have done the whole I have an open contract and I'm just going to leave it here thing better?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. But I'm okay with I have an open contract.
I would have been kind of cool for seeing like the open contract is there 1 minute, and next thing you know, it's gone. Like you don't know who took it, you don't know who's got the shot, and you don't find out until main event time.
Or just have somebody go out and get it who, is somebody that's not gonna, is not gonna cash it in.
Somebody that's not Ace Steel. Yeah. I mean, like I liked the prop that he did. You get your ass up, or excuse me, you get the F up, and you get in there and fight. That was awesome. Yeah. But and Punk's promo to follow that was great. But yeah, I just felt like this is one of those things that AEW does really well. They do the mystery very well. So you could have stretched this. It didn't have to be so quick.
Well, no. Again, to me, I'm okay with being quick because, again, if you go back and look at everything they did from the run-ins with each other to, the Cleveland match to the contract, to the promos, they were cutting great promos. I'm okay, right? Because they did a very short build-up to a big match, and it was good for me anyway. Because, again, both of them cut great promos. Right? They, they did the run-ins like during the middle of the show, like Moxley was coming out like for no apparent reason other than just to come out there and do it, right? And to me, I'm okay with it though for being so short. Like I really don't need a great storyline. I just need one to make sense. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be a 2-year storyline. It can be a 3-week storyline if it makes sense. And I think this makes sense. Again, other than I think you should have, like, once Ace goes out there to get the contract, you know where it's going. You could have sent like John Silver could have run down and grabbed it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, I mean, hell, have John Silver run down to snag it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could have had him run down, snag it, like wave it in the air, and then run back up the thing. And then what you don't know is when he gets behind the curtain, he gets knocked out and it gets taken from him.
Right.
Yeah, the next camera angle is him sitting on the floor like, where'd it go?
Yeah, like, it was here. Who's got it now? And then you wait for next week and Punk still cuts his promo and yada, yada, yada.
Because you knew the way it was going when he cut the promo of, when the guy got him walking in and he's like, he's not just fighting me.
Yeah, he's fighting all of us. I was like, damn, that's a damn good promo.
He's fighting Chicago Public Schools Teacher of the Year. I'm like, you go, man. Doing all that shit.
He's like, I got the guy down at Mindy's Bakery who I'm going to eat his muffins later and complain, but he's behind me. You're fighting him too.
Well, and don't forget though, there were a lot of these underlying little things too. Because remember when Punk and Mox got into it, right? And Punk was cutting the heel promo, talking about how Mox likes to bleed.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what Mox didn't do?
Bleed.
He didn't bleed.
Yeah, Punk bled like a bastard.
Yeah.
Good Lord. How did he even get busted open?
What was it? Oh crap, what was it? Oh, I will think about it now that you said something. I'll think about it.
So I'm looking it up, and it shows that he got thrown into the ring post.
Yeah,
Must have completely
that's
missed
right. Yeah. The ring post.
If there's questions as to Punk's health as far as his foot's concerned, I think those were answered. He's got to be about as 100% as he's going to be. He comes out with the victory after 2 go to sleeps. I'm happy about this, but I'm even more psyched to know what's going to happen after this, because I feel like the Joker is probably going to be the guy that carries this title into the next few years.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we're seeing here is, all right, well, look, Punk's got limited space available on his clock, and that's not including the scrum. He's just getting older and he's getting beat up. So the next person that takes that title has to be somebody that's young, that's healthy, that you can trust, and I think that Tony Khan does trust MJF. And it's got to be somebody that knows what it takes to get people to want to see him get his ass whipped.
Yeah, and it's also got to be the biggest star in the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so after the match, though, lights go out.
Mm-hmm.
You get an audio record of Tony Khan. And as soon as it's Tony, you hear Tony Khan and you know what he's talking about. You know exactly who the Joker is. So I say we give Rob his moment. And we'll let Rob announce the Joker.
I don't know if anybody's ready for it, though. Stan was wrong.
Yeah, I was definitely wrong.
But the Joker turned out to be none other than MJF. After all
Maxwell,
the talk,
Joker Friedman.
all the talk, all the drama. He even laid like the supposed voicemail that Tony Khan left him that, just come back and I'll pay you this amount and just you got to show up. This is your last chance. And then turns around, still got the mask and everything on, and then puts on the scarf, takes the mask off. Oh yeah. And then he comes out.
Mm-hmm.
As Punk's in the ring, and Punk's like, oh, fudge.
What? But not only does he come out, he literally puts Chicago in the palm of his hands.
Oh, yeah.
Like, without saying a word, turns Chicago against CM Punk. Because those MJF chants were probably louder than anything else that whole night. Even the Acclaimed. Like, Maxwell is the future. And I think you just saw it last night.
I think what was interesting is that, well, first off, I thought that maybe we were going to see the heel turn from Punk, because when they played that old ROH footage, Punk was on his way to WWE at the time when he cut that promo. And he was like, this was supposed to be the summer of Punk, where he was, celebrating with the fans before he leaves. He wins the title, and that's where that promo where he's like, you stupid old man, and he turns heel and has the first summer of Punk. So I'm like, oh, wow. So maybe the Joker is exposing Punk, which still could be the case, which would be awesome. But this just, who'd have ever thought Chicago, CM Punk's hometown, would have just changed from Punk to MJF that quickly?
Yeah, without a match. without even saying anything on
He
the
didn't
mic.
walk down the aisle. He just stopped at the entranceway and said, "Aha, I want the belt." And then he gave everybody the finger.
Yeah. Well, and like Punk goes from yes, I got it, I'm back on the mountaintop to instantly Chicago's like, Punk who?
Yeah.
Right. CM what?
See ya later.
And that's where All Out ends. But that's not where the drama ends. No. We go from the pay-per-view to the media scrum, which is usually pretty entertaining. Get a good conversation between Tony Khan and the media. But in this situation, it was
Let's leave Punk for last, though.
we got a lot of angsty people
Yeah.
during this media scrum. Jericho, like I said earlier, happiest guy of the group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if you noticed, if you listen to Jericho dropped some major nuggets that if you paid attention to what is going on, like this is another reason why like my attitude is changing towards certain people.
Yeah.
Because Jericho said he come out and said, like Mox and Punk and him and some of these other guys came from a different place where this behavior wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
And that's what he told me, because when I'm asked, well, what did you say? Well, he told him, stop doing the stupid shit. You know, in the little meetings they had.
Yeah.
You know, you're in a, you know, I think he even come out and said, you know, we're doing $1 million pay-per-views now. This stupid little petty indie bullshit now has to stop. Like you're at that point now. This bullshit has to stop. You getting on Twitter and all this other stuff doing this stupid shit. Like it has to stop.
I think Jericho is the one that said you got to stop leaking stuff.
Yeah. And it was interesting with Jericho when they were talking about the music.
Yeah.
How they who else did they want? Jericho wanted to for Lionheart, but they wanted too much money.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were talking about, well, we got the Rolling Stones and Tony Khan.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good friends with them. They were here last year. They, you know, we did great business together or whatever. So, but yeah, Jericho's right. Like I didn't watch them all in order. I got Jericho towards the end, and like he makes sense. Like if you want to actually compete now against the WWE, because you're at a precipice, right? You can take this to the next level if everybody shuts up and does what they're supposed to do.
I mean, I think that's where you got too many Chiefs and not enough Indians. And sorry, that's not appropriate. Too many cooks, too many chefs, not enough cooks, I guess.
I mean, there's just so many people that think they know, and then the comment that was given from, I guess it's Adam Page, where he said, "No, I don't really take advice." Like, you better. You know, no one is above taking advice. Now, granted, not all of that advice is going to be something you want or something you even follow, but you should at least listen and respect the people that's offering it. Who knows what it could do for you? Like if we do commentary for Ultimate Championship Wrestling, if I ever had the opportunity to get feedback from a guy like Jim Ross, as much as I joke about Jim sometimes, you know, flubbing a line here and there, you damn well bet I would take any feedback he wants to give me, and I would apply it because he is an expert in that chosen field. You take what people are going to tell you, and you apply it how you see fit, but you respect them enough to listen. And I feel like Paige is, if he's really going around saying that kind of stuff, that's out of line. But it's not just him. Looking at some of the descriptions from some of the other parts of the scrum, Tony Storm gets in on it. She's like, well, hey, if Thunder Rosa says she's hurt, then when she says she's not hurt, she can come back and lose to me, and everything will be fine. Yeah, why are you saying stuff like that? You know, keep that stuff under wraps.
No, but so I mean, look at it like this though. If me and Rob, Rob's got a title, right? Rob says, "Oh, I have back issues." There are reports that she's been having issues moving, right? So that is not like there are reports that there was a time she couldn't, like she was having a hard time walking. There are a couple of them out there, right? So the injury could be legit, right?
Right.
And Tony Storm simply saying, "Well, you're telling me you're hurt. When you come back, we'll figure it out."
Hmm.
That's not really, to me. That's not necessarily um, like getting involved. That's just saying, "Hey, Rob, when you're not injured, look me up, bro, and we'll do it for real."
Uh,
You know what I'm saying? Like, I maybe she is, but I don't really think she was. I don't really think she meant it that way.
Yeah.
I think it was more of like, "Hey, you're telling me you're hurt, but when you're not hurt, we're gonna fight."
Well, then you got media members that are with Swerve in Our Glory asking Swerve in Our Glory, your tag champs, the people that won, do you think there should have been an audible called with the way the fans reacted to the Acclaimed? I thought that was actually really disrespectful of the media member that asked that. That's not a question you should be asking. Your roster members. I maybe asked that to Tony Khan in a different setting, but I don't know that I would have asked that question to the tag champs. I felt like that was extremely disrespectful.
well, I mean, that goes back to the fact that there's no line where the business stops.
Yeah, you're right.
Like it used to be that whole. There are certain things you don't look behind the curtain,
Hmm.
and like I read on Twitter today, Frankie Kazarian said he's like, "There's times in my 15 years or 20 years that I was unhappy, but guess what? I didn't.
Yeah.
It stayed private. And it's like."
Yeah, but you probably have it this at this moment in time. You probably have more shitty ass fucking wannabe reporters, like what is it, Ringside News and some of this other stupid bullshit, that will just take something and try and make a mountain out of it, and then you'll take the next guy along this, the next guy down who's going to put his spin on it when there may not be nothing to the story to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like this is probably the worst time ever for wrestling so-called journalism. And what it does is it starts to fuel fires, and you get people like Kevin Owens who shouldn't be involved in this. Well, he now wants to be involved in it. Dude, you don't even work there. Stay in your lane.
Well, I mean, that's the problem is everybody is speaking instead of one voice of the company. You know, you have all these people talking to all these people who have Twitter, who have Facebook, who have all the other bullshit that can sit there and go, well, I have a personal source that told me. Who'd you talk to? The ring crew guy? The guy at craft services? Like, we all have a guy somewhere that we know that can talk to us about something, you know, but, and that's the thing, like, it's all who can talk louder, who can get it out faster. And, you know, oh my God, Punk walked down the hallway and didn't say hi to somebody. They must have beef.
Yeah,
I mean, Punk was on the phone and talking to 5 other people, but they must not like each other. Like just.
yeah, but that's shit journalism.
I mean, and that's what we have.
Yeah.
His attempt to have the media scrum where he can have his message out is turning on him.
Oh, I don't think his media scrums are turning. I think they played out exactly like he wanted. But again, who people get caught up in the bullshit of social media for whatever fucking reason, and it makes no sense. Like Keith Lee and Swerve. I don't know if you saw that one, right? Keith Lee's like, I don't even look at social media unless Swerve tells me to look. and he sends me a screenshot of something. So now your tag champs are doing, one is so tied up in social media that he can't, he just can't leave it alone. Whereas Keith Lee is like, I don't even look at the crap. And it's just people get caught up in stupid things, and some people use it to their advantage. What'd you say? Oh, you're breaking up for me, bud.
I don't hear Stan at all.
I hear him, but he's like cutting in and out for me.
He's all heartbroken.
Well, I don't know.
He thought all those people he talked to are real journalists.
Well, I don't know if we're still live, pal. But according to Tony Khan, he's going to try and make Swerve in Their Glory and the Acclaimed 2 for New York for Arthur Ashe. And of course, Lee and Swerve are kind of like, well, if it was us, you would make us go down to the bottom of the list. But so we shall see. So we may have our first match. He said be right back, so I don't know what that means. So we may have our first match lined up for Arthur Ashe Stadium.
It's kind of, this is kind of like, I kind of look at this like Hardy's versus Edge and Christian versus, like you had it, you struck lightning, let's do it again. And so, but you got it. The thing is, you've got Keith Lee and Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to pull it off. I'm not an Acclaimed fan. If he would just stick to wrestling and just stop with the mic. Like every time he comes out and says, listen, I just want to smack him in his face.
What? No, stop it. How can you not be an Acclaimed fan? Like everything from the mic. I mean, they're entertaining on the mic to Scissor Me Daddy. The whole.
You bought one of those shirts, didn't you?
I'm thinking about it. I really am. Now that they're on the shop, yeah, I'm thinking about it.
You're gonna wear it to the next AEW show we go to.
No, I'm gonna wear it all over town. And I bet you could walk into Walmart with it, and there will be somebody wanting to scissor you.
I remember back when we had the NWO shirts, and you'd wear it somewhere, and somebody'd be like, "Too sweet, me, bro."
Yeah,
or the Bullet Club.
Bullet Club, same thing with Bullet Club. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I'd be at Fredericksburg Mall or something, and I wouldn't know jack anybody, and you'd always have somebody throw it up. That's just the way it goes. So anyway, so I don't know when Stan's coming back. He said be right back. So I don't know if we want to. Did you see the Punk one?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, Rob, you got to go watch that.
How do you see those media scrums? Like,
just go type in AEW Media Scrum on YouTube, and they're always on YouTube.
Okay.
And sometimes you can get the whole media scrum, and then other times you can get them broken down into certain people. So like I know last night or the one for last night, you had Jericho. You can find Jericho by himself. You can find Swerve in Their Glory by himself, Tony Storm, CM Punk, and then sometimes you get Tony Khan by himself. And now Tony Khan, I don't know if you saw his. Tony Khan was quite interesting too, and it may very well go into like why everybody's got attitude. Because Tony Khan was like, look, I'm normally a nice guy. Even if you talk shit about me on the internet, I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm a laid back guy, and I'm easy to get along with, yada yada yada. And he's like, but don't fuck with me, because when you fuck with me, that's when we're gonna have issues. and I think somebody asked him about if they would ever do a WWE, venture. And I know in the past he had talked about it, and Tony said he was open to it. But then Tony was last night was like, "No, fuck them. They done pissed me off. Fuck them." I mean, he was cussing them, and because what they did this weekend by putting the Saturday show on, and then the Sunday show on, and they were looking to have break um, the pay per view, their best pay per view for what was it, All Out. They were hoping this was going to be the biggest one ever for them,
Yeah.
and he was just like fatigue probably got him, and we were on last. We were the third pay per view in the weekend, and he was like, "Nah, fuck them. I got more money. I will. I'm gonna do something, and you're not gonna see it coming." Basically, like I think he's gonna pull some shenanigans one of these times. Where he's gonna stack a card on a Monday night or a pay per view or something, and he's gonna just throw money at it and see what just make it so big you can't not watch it.
Right. I mean, I saw like somebody done something about what he said, and I didn't know if that was the truth, but it was just like, dang, like I could see him totally like, fine, you want to go my weekend? That's fine. I left WrestleMania alone. Next year,
Mm-hmm.
bitch, I'm gonna be on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do something on Saturday, and guess what? I'm gonna have everybody.
Yeah.
No one's
I'm,
gonna pay attention to your puny night one.
yeah, I'm gonna make it the biggest fucking wrestling show in the world or something.
I'm going to find the teams that haven't been together forever, and I'm going to put them together, and they're going to be like, holy shit, we got you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I I just find it interesting though that you have an opportunity. Both companies have this great opportunity that they should take advantage of, right? Because I think you could really make an incredible WrestleMania if you had decided to get your head out your ass and work with another company that was willing to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I understand Tony Khan talks a lot of shit, but he hasn't really crossed the ball yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't really like done anything to WWE other than beat NXT, and he
Like
beat
he's
the brakes
fired
off of them.
shots,
Yeah,
but not like directly across the bow.
right.
Like he's been like, oh, yeah, that, if we're at a pirate ships, he's lobbing them just enough off the bow. So, you notice them,
Right,
but you're like, whatever.
right.
And the thing is, like, if he would to come out and say, or let's say that, um, let's say that, um, you know, Triple H is like, all right, let's do it. Hey, calls AEW. Right now, Tony Khan's gonna be like, fuck you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but also at the end of the day, Tony Khan's a businessman and he's about money.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows, one, not to steal EC3's shtick, but he controls his narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he said.
Like he
Yeah.
writes his own stuff. So if he gets in bed with WWE in a way with Triple H, he's going to control what happens.
Well,
Just
yeah, but
like with Impact.
I don't think it's going to happen now. From your contract tampering to the double pay per views taking money out of his pocket. I
Oh,
think
that's
he's
what I'm
pissed.
saying. Like I don't
Yeah.
see it happening, but at the end of the day, would Tony Khan be like, you know what? This is the acknowledgement. This is what, like,
I think he would. Yeah, like if you're talking like if Triple H called him and said, "Tony, let's do business," I think
yeah.
Tony would tell him, "Fuck off."
Now, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
now,
right now
yeah,
he definitely would. He'd be like, "No,
yeah,
you had a chance."
Yeah, you had a chance. You had a chance. And he'd be talking that big Tony talk.
Yeah.
You had your chance, but now, maybe I'll do, maybe, yeah. Or he'll say, yeah, I'll work with you, and gives him Ring of Honor.
Well, he made an interesting comment. So what led to him saying, on Friday, the media scrum was basically, I'm not happy with how they've treated me. And he said, and I'd be happy to talk about that. Nobody asks him, what do you mean? What
Mhm.
happened? So Sunday comes along. John Alba, one of the members of the media out there, says, hey, so Friday you said you were unhappy with how you were treated. What happened? I'm going to go ahead and ask you. And he's like, I can't really comment exactly. And the guy's like, was it contract tampering? He kind of tries to get him to answer him, and he doesn't. And that's where he goes on about they ran shows on our weekend, and in the past they've never done that to us.
Mhm.
So he compared himself to Jim Crockett Promotions, sort of. I say he did because he did say it, but I don't know that it was direct. I'm trying to give it proper context.
Well, no, I mean, he did say they treated, I'm pretty sure that's like verbatim. They treated me like
Yeah,
Jim Crockett Promotions.
right.
Yeah.
And he said, this isn't a game to me. This is serious to me. I have more
Yeah.
money than they do. I'm
Yeah.
not playing around. Like, that was the only time I was like, all right, Tony, maybe reel it in, buddy.
No,
Slow it
no,
down.
no. Yeah, but let's remember, right? Let's remember. The more he does it, it's going to generate a buzz. The
Yeah.
more buzz brings people in the building.
Well,
Okay.
to that point, I was going to ask you earlier. You said that you think it's kind of according to what Tony's plan was. Do you think he told basically everybody, listen, let's normally we're nice. Normally we're real fan service kind of thing. Fan service. Let's flip the script. Do you think that's what he directed them to do?
Dude, I have no clue. I said it earlier. I'd say it again. Something is up,
Mm,
right? Especially over the last few weeks, right? Like attitudes have changed. The way they talk has changed. Look at
yep.
Swerve in the interview, right? Swerve's attitude changes, and he's by the end he's like, no, fuck that,
Yeah.
right? And he
Yeah. He definitely was.
says, yeah, and he says something under his breath, and I
Keith was
tried to
like, I'm not
listen
in
to.
that.
Well, yeah, right before that, where Keith says, "I'm not in that." He
yeah.
says something. I can't figure out what he said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, if like their their attitude, it's this weird like we're not fucking around no more, almost type attitude.
Hmm.
You know, it's almost like they've been bullied for way too long. Your matches are getting harder,
Yeah.
right? The way they talk to each other is getting more realistic, right? Now, again, I'm not saying that all this stuff that's going on in social media isn't the truth. But I actually think some of this stuff is a pure work of brilliant fiction.
I would love it if it is. I mean, that would be opening the doors to what so many people claim they want to see, and that's another Attitude Era.
Yes. And I that's what I'm beginning to think is somewhere when they started talking about the WWE having an attitude era.
Hmm.
And somebody like Jericho, who's smart enough and goes back to that era, convinces Tony Khan, let's beat them at their own game.
Yeah, let's out attitude their Attitude Era. Yeah.
Yes. Let's just come up with the wildest, craziest, like realistic attitude era shit that we can come up with. Right?
Hmm.
Like let's what's one button that we could push, that you can have somebody say to CM Punk, right? That's so subtle that it's going to take you a second to figure out what he's talking about. Oh, now we've pissed off the guy that we know if he gets pissed off enough, he's going to walk away,
Hmm.
right? And there was even one of the little internet guys was quick to point out, oh, CM Punk is so pissed he might walk away, right? Because that was a rumor a few weeks back.
Yep.
But again, Punk goes back to the Attitude Era. Somebody like Moxley is born for this.
Hmm.
because Moxley can just go out there and fight. I mean, matches, to me, it's like they are, without telling anybody what's going on, is they are very realistic now.
Yes.
And I think again, part of this may be real, but I honestly think part of it may simply be a work to generate buzz. Because right now, all anybody's talking about is the backstage shit with AEW. But what that's doing is people are watching to find out what's going on.
And that's where, for those that look in the show description when you do the download, I said there's a lot of shooting going on. It's the wild, wild west in AEW. And the reason I say that is it's a hectic scenario right now. We don't know. And that's the beauty of it. We think we might. There's some inklings, but we don't really know. And that's how we like it. We like it to be on that razor's edge.
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk. Go ahead. Go with your.
I was going to say the Attitude Era was some of the best out there. Because you just simply had no clue what was happening.
From entertainment to shooter work. I mean, it was definitely the best.
Yeah. And again, you had people like Michaels and Brett who supposedly couldn't get along to, for nothing, they would go out there and do business.
And they would have some of the best matches you'd ever seen.
Yes, it was so ultra realistic.
Yep.
You just couldn't help but to watch.
Well, and that's where you got it, like you said. I mean, you've got the blur of the line, and like Tony Khan's like, fine. Like we just were talking about, Brian. Like Tony Khan's like, fine. Y'all want to go the Attitude Era? We'll go ECW.
Yeah,
right.
And you're gonna say this and bring this person back? That's fine. We're gonna put belts on people that you wouldn't think. So yeah, I mean, you can see it. It's going to have an effect, but like we've learned from AEW back in the past, like they're not in it just for, he's not in it the quick game. He's in the long haul. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of fans don't understand that Tony Khan is not a money mark. Yes, he has a lot of money. Yes, Tony Khan has a lot of influence, but he's not doing this with a tax return. He's doing this with funds that he earned, that he has a vision for, and there's a reason that AEW is still pulling in the numbers that keeps a company like Warner Media and Discovery Plus happy. Yeah. I know there's a lot of rumors out there about how they said you need to tone down the language. That was a Jericho edict. That wasn't from Warner. Jericho tells these guys, listen, we have the perfect storm here. Let's be careful with what we say. Not say it ever, but he said to make it matter, which obviously that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you've got to recognize that these are people that know what the hell they're doing. Now, conversely, going to somebody that maybe doesn't, this scrum, this whole conversation, it comes from CM Punk, who I guess he just felt it on his heart and was like, I'm ready to pop, or this was all part of the plan, one way or the other. Here's what happened. They start the scrum. Nick Houseman stands up and doesn't even get his question out, and Punk just lays him out. Not physically, just verbally, and then proceeds to describe the situation with Colt Cabana, a.k.a. Scott Colton.
Yeah, and that's the guy where he's like, weren't you with Scott?
Right. He said he did improv with Scott. And he said, so would you call yourselves friends? He's like, no, we don't see eye to eye. So he's like, well, would you say as a journalist that you should identify that he's a friend? And he says, no, he's not my friend. He said, so Punk does say, he's like, well, look, if I'm wrong, I apologize. If I'm right, then fuck you. And then he proceeds to lay out the entirety of the Scott Colton lawsuit, which, shit, if I knew any of that. And truth be told, I've not always been a Colt Cabana fan, but I think he definitely has something to offer, especially in Ring of Honor, if they're truly going to go weekly TV. So I would definitely keep him and definitely put him to work. And I would probably tell Punk, okay, cool, I'll keep you guys separate. You don't have to worry about him, but I'm going to keep him because he makes me money. Something like that.
Wait, what was that? I missed that part. What did you just say?
I just feel like with what he's describing, I feel like he's laying out there that he doesn't want to be associated with Scott Colton. He doesn't want anything to do with Colt Cabana.
Sure.
But to me, it's Tony's call, and if he feels that he makes some money, then Tony should just tell him, "Look, we'll keep you separate, fine." But he's staying because he helps me. Whose
Yeah,
business
but
is this?
Punk, I don't think cares about the business side because
I'm
Colt
inclined to agree with you.
and Punk have been there. They've even been on same shows. I think Colt is going to ROH just to keep them apart, and that part is already done. I think, again, the perfect storm occurred last night with CM Punk. Like, everybody's been bringing up this shit about what Adam Page said, right? And how Adam Page took up for Colt Cabana. And Adam Page and Punk was like, no, Adam Page went into business for himself. And so some of the quote unquote journalists jumped on the Adam Page bandwagon and talking shit about Punk. Some of them jumped the other way and said, no, Adam Page went into business for himself. And I think ultimately, with the last few weeks, CM Punk has just gotten tired of it and said, no, this is why I did what I did. Because this guy mooched off of me more money than, should have been allowed. Because at the end of the day, or not at the end of the day, but at the end of when he was talking, he came out and told you there's two people that made the most money off of CM Punk. Vince McMahon, and who was the other? Yes.
I was like, holy crap. He looks at Tony when he says that, by the way, thinking, you haven't, don't worry, you'll get there. Like, he pats him on the shoulder like, hey, I'm going in, just don't worry, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tony's sitting there nodding his head like, yeah, Phil, yeah.
Well,
At that point, Tony's 5 drinks in going, whatever.
No, honestly, dude, this was probably the most reserved I have seen Tony Khan in a media scrum. Literally, I mean, think about it. The only time he really said anything was with Swerve and Their Glory. A little bit in Tony Storm. Jericho did most of the talking. Swerve and Their Glory, he kind of participated in. Let's see. But, I mean, think about it. So, you did just have an edict about the cussing because Ace got fined, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, for the F-bomb.
Right. So there is an edict about the cussing, right? You cannot tell me if you were the owner of a company and you wouldn't have thought about cutting CM Punk's mic.
See, that's what I keep going back to. Why would not just say, all right, well, we're done.
We're done. Yeah.
Yep. Grab his shirt gently and say, all right, Phil, we're done here. Obviously,
let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's your mic.
Yeah.
Cut the mic. And if he wants to stay there and just talk and yell at the lap, okay, when you're done, give me your title, you're fired.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't. He doesn't do it for any of them. He just sits there and lets them go.
And he went for a good 15 minutes just laying out everybody. And then he says about the EVPs that couldn't manage a target, and then at the end of it closes out where he says they think we're in Reseda. So it's clear he's going after the Bucks. He's talking about the Bucks and Kenny. And during the after effect of that, the aftermath, when Swerve and Our Glory are doing their media scrum, you see at the back left of the screen where a security guy puts his finger to his ear like he's listening to something, and then boom, he is sprinting out the door. Then we get the report early this morning that basically, we got 60 seconds here, guys. Basically, what happens here is that there's an altercation between the Elite, CM Punk, and Ace Steel that involves Nick Jackson getting knocked out by a chair that was thrown, and Ace Steel biting Kenny Omega and pulling his hair. Sounds a little familiar to me. I seem to recall Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels getting into a scuffle in the locker room where Bret pulled Shawn's hair and yanked him out of his head. They've been doing a homage to Brett for how long now?
Vince and Brett knocking Vince out too.
Yeah. So why not? Let's see where it plays out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of those that happen in the back. I mean, how many times has the Undertaker walked in the back room and be like, "No, pow," you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Tony should have learned from lessons of the past, and he should never give a wrestler the book. And
agreed.
I hate to say it, but I'm starting to really sour on the Bucks. I'm starting to sour on Adam Page, and they, as EVPs, should have been more responsible and kept their mouth shut, because you're a supervisor, you're part of the company, you're not a wrestler. So whatever happens from this point is on you.
Yep.
With that, catch up with Rob at Rob Hefner C2C on Twitter. Catch up with Brian at Vlad Dragos C2C. Catch up with the show at C2C Radio Show on Twitter. And I'm at Stan Grubb everywhere. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next week where, hey, we'll hear from MJF and we'll hear what else is going on. Who knows?
Maybe somebody else is mad at somebody else that somebody else will report about.
Have a good night, everybody. See ya.
And Rob, go watch the media stuff.
I'm glad y'all got to hear me tonight.
We appreciate you.
You can go to bed with my sultry sound.